You guys, we are once again talking about James Charles because he has once again addressed the situation between Kayla Malec and Evan Johnson, wanting to tell everyone he didn't do anything with Evan. We're going to get into what James has had to say, how Kayla has reacted, and what people are saying online. James Charles is doubling down on the fact that he never talked to Evan Johnson romantically, despite the fact that everyone, including Kayla, is a little suspicious of his actions in this whole situation. To remind you guys of how we even got here in the first place and how James Charles is involved in a situation between Kayla Malec and Evan Johnson. It all begins when Kayla, a TikToker, publicly exposed her ex-boyfriend Evan Johnson, revealing how horrible he was to her during their relationship. Shortly after, Evan was arrested and later convicted. James became involved when Zach Sellers, a former friend of Evan, claimed that James had a romantic relationship with Evan and supported him even after the allegations surfaced. This story obviously blew up because people were like, wait, what do you mean James Charles is somehow involved in this situation? People also thought that James and Kayla were really close friends, so to hear that James was going after her ex-boyfriend, that was really throwing people off. They both denied being best friends and they're more so acquaintances, but James did know Evan through Kayla. Still very weird to people, but not as bad as people were originally thinking. Plus, James is denying even going after Evan at all, just saying that they were friends. And James said this in a TikTok that he posted onto his account the day that Evan was convicted, literally an hour after the news had broken. And he stated that they were just friends. He had cut off contact once he heard of the allegations, and he was already getting really sketchy vibes from Evan and distancing himself. James also announced that he was taking legal action against those that were spreading false claims about him. Though he had admitted to getting close to Evan as a friend, inviting Evan to stay with him at his house in LA, but said it was only because Evan was struggling mentally and he was under the impression that he really needed a friend, and James was saying that he was manipulated by Evan. Now, like I said, Kayla, much like the rest of those online, have been skeptical over James's claims that they were friends. Just friends.
They had been DMing in Hawaii in January while we were still together. James would only DM me to say how hot he was. Apparently, from what I was told, which I don't know how trustworthy my ex was, but told me that James had DM'd him the day that we broke up. So I don't know. And also, I do think it is fishy to create such a friendship with somebody off of being attracted to them. Because I don't know what the fuck they would have in common besides the fact that James thought he was hot. And then to fly him out, I don't know. I don't know if I could think a guy was really hot, fly him out, and just like want a friendship.
But James came online to address Kayla's response, writing on his story in regards to everything that she had to say. I watched Kayla's videos last night, and I am grateful that she did not feed into the lies that was told by Zach. Because if you guys remember, Zach was the one that was saying that James and Kayla were best friends and that James was romantically trying to go after Evan and that they had been romantic despite being best friends with Kayla. So James seemed to be appreciating the fact that Kayla wasn't full on saying, oh, we were besties and he went after my boyfriend 100%, they were romantic. She did say like she didn't know what went on behind closed doors. James continues, while also expressing how I upset her. I said it in my original video and I'll say it again, Kayla, I'm sorry that I was ever involved with this compulsive liar, and I'm even more sorry that my involvement hurt you. She said in her video that she wasn't sure which stories from Evan were true, and there seems to be some confusion about my involvement before their breakup. I want to make it clear, I absolutely did not pursue Evan or have a secret plot to take him from Kayla. As you will see, Evan reached out to me multiple times. I politely responded and then ended the conversation. I offered to privately share all of these messages directly with Kayla so she could see what actually happened, but now I will share them publicly to hopefully make it clear. He then posts screenshots of his messages with Evan, but These messages are all screenshots of messages that he and Evan exchanged prior to Evan's breakup with Kayla. So we don't see the invitation to come to LA. Like, we don't see any of that stuff. I'm guessing that after they broke up, that's really when the vanished modes started happening. But this is what James showed. We see Evan's account has been restricted, and we see that on October 22nd, Evan messaged James and said, "It was good meeting you, brother," which lines up to what Kayla says, that last October they went to a birthday party and Evan and James met for the first time. We can see Evan reaching out to James. James sent heart hands, and then Evan said, "Hope you got home safe, man." And James said, "I'm in bed safely and about to knock out, LOL, good night," with a heart. Evan says, "That's good to hear. That's crazy. You went the whole night sober. Knock out the big-ish in the morning." The next day, Evan messages saying, "Is there any good events coming up?" James said, "No idea. Haha, I told you I don't go out ever." Evan said, "Damn, respect." He said, "I just don't enjoy it, haha. I'm sure Kayla's invited to a ton of stuff." And he said, "Yeah, haha, was just trying to find some more cool events." Then he replied to a story that James had posted of the LA fires, and he said, "Home you're good, brother." I'm sure he meant hope you're good, brother. Then we see that Evan tried to video call James on January 14th, and he said, "Yo, my bad." James said, "LOL, you're all good, no worries, heart hands." This is when he says, "You should come to Hawaii with us sometime." And James said that he sent a photo that was a selfie with Kayla and like their friend group. Then James sent back the photo that we've seen, because Kayla showed us, where he was asking like why he should come to Hawaii. James also replies, "Brother is crazy." Evan said, "My bad. That's my saying from Tennessee. Haha, say brother to everyone. Hawaii just fun. Also, Kayla and Emma was just talking about ya. We escaped the fires." He said, "Oh, I miss them. Yeah, good for you guys. And he said, "Gotta reunite." And that's all that James decided to show us. He then concludes his stories by saying, "I'm happy that Kayla got justice for what Evan put her through. And like she said, she deserves to celebrate. I genuinely wish her the best and pray that she continues to win with her staying behind bars." People were then reacting to James's screenshots online saying, "James posting the pre-breakup messages and none of the post-breakup messages is a silent admission of guilt because it shows he can't show what happened after." The way James posted the message, knowing that those messages were before the breakup, is crazy to me. It's the fact that he showed no messages of him and Evan after you guys broke up and just showed the parts where he was being dry with Evan. Like, it's very clear he was hiding messages and deleting stuff. Kayla even liked a comment that said, "Those screenshots on his story cleared up literally nothing, girl. I'm laughing with you." And Kayla then posted a TikTok where she was reacting to Instagram having vanish mode.
Hey, Instagram, can we get rid of vanish mode? Can we get rid of that? Can we just go in the little... Can we get rid of that? I'm gonna go crazy.
She had also posted another one where she was definitely talking about the fact that she used to be a James Charles fan when she was younger, wanting the Morphe palette, and if she could go and tell that past self what was going on today, that would be crazy.
Also, I'm sitting here just scrolling on my For You page, and I'm just like, what the like, genuinely, I would kill to like go up to 12-year-old me right now, just go time travel to 12-year-old me with her Morphe palette in hand, post notifications on. Grandma waited in line for hours for this goddamn Morphe palette, and just like to see her reaction to all this shit. If I could go back in time and just be like, "Babe, you don't need the palette, okay?" Like, plot twist, babe. Put the palette down. Grandma, get out of line at Morphe. Okay, there's a twist. I would just kill. Like, what the fuck? Like, genuinely just like, what the fuck?
Now, of course, people are also having the conversation of why is James getting more hate than Evan? And I think it's because Evan has already been dealt with. He's behind bars. There doesn't need to be any convincing that he's bad. But I think because James addressed the situation late, people were talking for so long, speculating, not knowing where he stood on the situation or his side. Then when he finally did speak out, people were not loving him, denying or trying to say that him and Evan were not romantic. And then Kayla spoke her side, and then James had more to say. So it's kept the conversation surrounding James's name going. Not that he's worse than Evan or something. It's just because more keeps being said and people are just like, we don't like what you're saying because we don't believe you. So that's also just another reason why he keeps getting talked about. But that's what James had to say recently. I want to know what you guys think about the screenshots that James chose to share with the public. Let me know what you guys think. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.